Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And we are finally going to wrap up today's InsurTech Summit with one last session. This is a roundtable. And like I said, we saved the best, or rather, the most interesting one for the last. This roundtable is about how are InsurTechs playing a role from shifting insurance from a push to pull sale. We've got some esteemed panelists here with us today. We've got the CTO from Smart Choice, Mr. Hunain Kapadia, the CEO of Mavazna, Mr. Waqar Asghar, Mahnoor Farishta, who's the founder and CEO at Khair, Miss Naureen Hyat. She's the co-founder at Tez Financial Services, and we've got Mr. Ishaq Kothawala. We're going to hear more from all of them, and let's start off without further ado, starting with Ishaq. So, what disruption has the insurance, or rather insurtech industry, seen in the past decade?
If you talk about Pakistan only, it's not just about insurance.
Ishaq, you're so maybe if you could kindly repeat the last few sentences. No, I would recommend you to change your connection and reconnect, please. Meanwhile, I'd like to post the same question to Mr. Hunain Kapadia. Sir.
I'll keep it short. It's become friendlier, easier, more customizable, and and it's become more transparent. If you talk globally, these are the four things that have happened globally. And in Pakistan, the only thing that has happened right now is become a little more transparent and it's become a little more easier. It's still yet to become more personalized and customized.
Right. Thank you so much for that crisp answer. Now, Mr. Mohammed Waqar, sir, what disruption has the insurance industry seen, according to you, in the past decade?
Thank you, Anza. I think past decade, if you talk about like last 10 years, absolutely it started with, first of all, insurance going digital. That means like making it possible to sell insurance digitally, initially through web, and then the introduction of the mobile. So going through mobile as well. Absolutely, when these devices came on board, personalization has been a key, that offering personalized experiences and products. Apart from that, usage of the data, increased usage of the data that insurers wanted to, utilize to basically drive the product development and the risk calculations as well, so that they can cater the price accordingly. So all these things have been happening in last decade or so. But Pakistan, if we talk about Pakistan, Pakistan has picked up like last 3 to 4 years time, like going digital, and then we are working as part of this ecosystem. We are working towards supporting the other elements, which means personalization, and the usage of data and customized products. Hope this answers. Yeah.
Right. It does. Ishaq, do we have you with a better connection now? Right. Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, it's there. Sorry about that.
Right. Please go on. We were talking about disruption that the insurtech industry has seen.
Yes, so I was saying that in the last one decade, there has hardly been any VC funding available, and insurance generally is not a very intuitive product. So even the initial VC funding that started coming in last year went on to the more popular areas like ride-hailing, transport, logistics, and e-commerce, but there was hardly available for insurtech. So I think as we see the VC funding coming in, and we've got players waiting for funding, and I think in the next decade we will see very transformative disruption. But in the last one decade, there are 5 to 6 insurtech players, and they haven't even scratched the surface of the retail insurance segment. Not to their fault, but it was very nascent and there was no funding. But I think we'll see a lot happening in the next decade.
Right. Now, posing my next question, and that'll be to you, Ms. Mahnoor Farishta. Um, Andrew Rose, the CEO of US-based insurance comparison website Compare.com, he commented, and I quote, "Insurers of the future will play more of a risk avoidance role and less of a risk mitigation one." What do you comment? Right. You'll have to unmute yourself, Mahnoor. We couldn't hear you at all.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. So I do agree with this to some extent. When it comes to risk avoidance, so I'm not an insurance expert. I work within healthcare and I totally understand. For me, like the question suggested, insurance, the push and pull side is has made it. We've really transformed the industry like in the last 10 years. And the way we want to focus on insurance, risk avoidance or risk mitigation is, for me, pooling it with different products, and insurance has become more creative. So I feel like with InsurTech, with mobile populations rising, we've tried to mold insurance products to cater to the lowest income populations or to a wider range of populations that had never heard about an insurance product before. So I feel like in a country like Pakistan, there's always going to be a lot of risk when it comes to insurance. But simultaneously, I feel like this kind of model requires a lot of education as well. So once when you deploy insurance policies to different populations, you create products that cater to an individual in Pakistan who's never heard of an insurance product, I feel like the role and the journey that we have has to focus on education. And maybe that will reduce risk overall. So if you look at really advanced economies globally, insurance is a concept that people understand. They understand the value of it because we think in a rainy day, one day in Pakistan, we don't have that mentality today. We don't think about the future, even when it comes to provident funds, for example, or when it comes to saving for a rainy day or saving for your retirement. Those concepts are null and void. To make insurance more widespread, we have to be creative. We have to think about the lowest income population, and we have to educate populations. Only that way, I think, at the end of the day, your risk overall will be reduced.
Right, absolutely. Mr. Nomaan Bashir from Ozoned Digital. So the same question to you. What would you comment?
Hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So, from a risk avoidance and risk mitigation perspective, yes, I believe that data collection and the mechanisms and the repositories that are being worked upon by the industry will lead to the risk avoidance scenario for the industry. And I think from Pakistan's perspective, I think CDC is doing a wonderful job in terms of having a repository are available, then yes, you can access data from there and avoid certain types of risks. Unless and until data is available, you will only be doing risk mitigation and not be able to do risk avoidance. So data will drive, the next actions for it.
Right, sir. Some very pertinent points. Ms. Naureen Hyat, if the connection is sorted, would you like to address the same comment? I'm afraid we can't hear you, and I would request you to reconnect. Moving on. Now, here's another quote that's important that I came across my research. Now, Matthew Donaldson, the CEO of PGL Group, he said, and I quote, "I believe the consumer will win and that the desire for low cost, transparent, high quality digital services will have to be met." Ms. Naureen, if you heard me there, would you like to share your thoughts about what Mr. Matthew Donaldson said?
I hope you can hear me well now.
I can.
Lovely. Well, see, I think with digitization happening across most parts of the financial value chain, we do see that customers are being exposed to more and more options. And that too, they become much more price sensitive because of the opportunities and the options that they have available to them. I think one of the challenge, and I think I'd look into the Pakistan example first before I can talk about the global economy. Um, what's really happened is that we haven't really seen um, a very effective insurance play, whether it's even traditional insurance. One of the given facts is that you really literally have only 1% of the GDP being taken in from insurance premiums. And I actually will give you an interesting example of these being a distributor, a digital distributor for some of the insurance companies having partnered with them. So since inception, we actually had the chance to, gave out insurance, both health and life insurance. And this is about 300,000 insurance policies, embedded insurance policies that we gave out with our loans. And interestingly so, only 1% of these insurance policies were actually claimed, while out of these, about 30% of the loans were actually utilized for health-related purposes. So I think one of the major, lessons that I can draw out from this very example is that unfortunately, we've seen with our own industry that some of the major issues have been around customer journeys. It's been very fragmented, and we've seen very arduous journeys in terms of how really insurance is to begin with even adopted. And I think at the end of the day, price sensitivity does matter, but to begin with, I think even relevant products are really missing. And if you do see some advantages accruing out of this, people will pay a price provided it meets that risk that is being covered. And I think a very interesting example, if I allude to Tesla, we've seen, ever since the autopilot of Tesla came out, with their autopilot drivers, what Tesla has been trying to do is that it's been giving out insurance, particularly in Asia, with all its Tesla sales. And the idea really there is to actually bring down the cost of insurance and embed it into the pricing of the cars. And with that, one of the authorities, the UK Traffic Authority, I believe, they actually noted that the car crashes with Tesla cars since 2015, which is when the autopilot came out, it's actually gone down between 30 to 40%, which actually indicates, that this will actually have a direct impact on how really pricing and sensitivity and even risk mitigation or underwriting is seen. So I think this definitely is very important, and it will have a far-bearing impact, just not only on insurance itself, but the insurance value chain.
Very well said. Ishaq, coming back to you. Now, with the competitive landscapes changing so fast, it can be hard to know just how digital technology will play out and hence where to place the big bets. So, where should the big bets be placed? You need to unmute yourself, Ishaq.
Sorry, not used to this. So basically, I think two places that I would say the big bet should be placed. One is building your brand around trust. So unfortunately, in the general public, the perception is that the insurance companies are out there to get us, to extort premiums. They just show their faces when they have to collect premiums. But there has to be a brand that is built around trust, built around simplifying the user journey, built around simplifying the products, and also engaging with customers, not just in bad times, but also in good times, giving them value addeds, engaging them with cashbacks, giving them bonuses, or some gamifying, somehow engaging with customers while even if they haven't claimed, so that they know they have insurance and they understand that the insurance companies care about them. Number two, I would say, would be laying down the railroads of a true omni-channel distribution, do partnerships, make standard APIs, make standard SDKs, do as many partnerships. Since now the payment, the railroad is being set, this is a very good opportunity for any product, especially insurance, to grab onto that opportunities. So I think a person who, the entity who has built a brand and has the most railroad would be able to distribute effectively.
Absolutely, some very interesting and pertinent points made. I particularly like the take on gamification and how that can be used as an incentive. Mr. Hunain Kapadia, since you are a tech guy, so where do we place the big bets?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with a lot of what Ishaq said. Is the brand, is the trust which is missing in the Pakistani market. The second area of bets is claims. Is taking out this mentality from the people that insurance companies don't pay out claims. Insurance companies do pay out claims. We've seen that. We are seeing that. It's just that they haven't told the people and they don't release the right data to which proves that they do give out claims. So claims and personalization are two areas where I see where big bets can be placed. Like in the US, it's pretty normal for insurance, for your car insurance rates to change from zip code to zip code. So why can't we do it in Pakistan from city to city at least? Start from there. Similarly, your car insurance rates change on the number of miles that you drive. So these are sort of things that these personalized things which we have sort of started seeing in Pakistan. Like one or two insurance companies are trying it out, but they have, and it's not that the insurance companies don't have the data to do that. They have years of claim history. They have years of history of the customer, where they're living, where they're buying it from. It's just about structuring it and getting out the right products that for the right type of people. So those claims and personalization are two other areas which I see where the big bets can be placed.
Right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Mohammed Waqar, where should we place the big bets?
I think both Ishaq and Hunan, they have already covered. It's definitely, like if I talk about Pakistan, I think we still need to do a lot of effort towards creating the awareness and, creating this ambiguity around this insurance concept and, converting the, the mindset towards having protection in place, identifying those opportunities where the protection can be offered. And on top of that, offering personalized services, something that is built for me, something that is designed for me. Once that comes, certainly I'll feel different as a consumer. So as Hunan said, that cannot be done in absence of the data. Data is there, but I think I believe like the usage is not there. There isn't any central repository so far that has been made available for people, to play with that and to define and some personalized offers and customer journeys. So I believe that is the area that should be focused on as we move on. Yeah.
Agreed. Ms. Mahnoor, Farishta. So, who are some of the other stakeholders that you say that you see playing a key role in this shift in trend from push to pull?
So stakeholders like myself, for example, Khair is an integrated health tech platform. Our policies focused on the lowest income populations in Pakistan, and our packages start at rupees 1.2 a day, and all our packages are embedded with micro health insurance. So players like myself, for example, what I've understood in the market is I'm not an insurance expert, so understanding very layman technology, like layman terms for myself, if you speak to an average individual in Pakistan, you want to sell them a healthcare product. If you say insurance, they get scared. They're like all of you said, there's a stigma attached with insurance. And the fear, like Waqar Saab said, I think it was a great idea, is when we sell our product, we don't use the word insurance very by purpose. We say protection. When we say if you have to go to a hospital, you will be covered. Language is very important because I think the biggest play in insurance today is not only your huge tech boom, these are your masses in Pakistan who have mobile phones, who haven't heard of products and need the protection the most. So yeah, personalization. For example, Ishaq works on funeral cover, which I thought it was a great idea. When you work on services that cater to that population, but also simultaneously you have to educate them And only with education and personalization data, or approaching people with insurance back, maybe healthcare first, or insurance back, maybe even travel protection, you can sell your ticket and, like Nina said, or a car, embed insurance with it. My experience has been across the board that when you say the word insurance, people genuinely get scared. And that's something that we can only combat through education. So when it comes to big players, health tech players are big. When it comes to insurance, you have car companies. All of these disruptions will then increase insurance, InsurTech, I guess, penetration to some extent. So, I mean, there are a lot of key players that will benefit from it. It's just how you sell the narrative, and how, more than selling the narrative, how you understand your beneficiary, how they think, and approach selling your product in a very, like I say, too many fancy words will scare people. So we are very focused on a population. People understand what insurance is. If you look at the West, our behavior patterns are very different. Insurance of Pakistan, protection, insurance, whatever you want to call it, has to be customized for that individual beneficiary. So they feel like, God forbid something happens, my family is covered. So I feel like there has to be a lot of money. We can InsurTechs. There's a lot of boom. There can be a huge boom in InsurTechs. VC funding will help, I'm sure. Penetration in different rural areas will help, I'm sure. But unless we spend a lot of money on educating people, we're not going to see the results that we want to have.
Right, absolutely. Mr. Nomaan Bashir, do you have an alternate opinion, or is there another stakeholder or two that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, on the stakeholder side, I think it's important to understand that whoever is adding value to the insurance, experience is a stakeholder. Be it a customer, relevant, interaction is a stakeholder. And why do I say these, all these alternative, I wouldn't say alternative, all these stakeholders, is because all these stakeholders at the end of the day are contributing to either reducing the costs, increasing the penetration, improving the efficiencies. Okay, so for example, today, if I talk about surveyors, okay, the vehicle surveyors, or for that matter, hospital, believe that they are not a stakeholder, that will be unfair. Why? Because these stakeholders are the ones who are actually bringing on bottom line revenues to the insurance industry. If the insurance industry is not is not getting the right revenues in and right bottom line profitability because of lack of efficiencies, then all these stakeholders will be at a view of the value chain.
Right. Sir, could you please repeat the last sentence? I think we lost you for a couple of seconds. Just the last sentence.
So if I think to keep the others, to keep the stakeholders' view alive, you need to keep a lookout at the insurance value chain. Otherwise, you will miss out on key stakeholders.
Right. Now, speaking of the insurance value chain, Naureen, do you think you see any other key stakeholders that play an important role in the shift in trend? Now, I would also like to bring your attention to the fact that a lot of people keep talking about how insurance agents are probably going to not exist in the future, or maybe it's going to be a role that's going to be completely redefined or maybe omissed. So I would like you to shed some light there as well.
Sure. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Just reconnected. Okay, great. So I think, Anza, I will come on to the agents for sure, because I think they definitely will remain, at least for the near future, a very important stakeholder, particularly in countries like ourselves where insurance is still beginning to, kick off. But I think a lot of the stakeholders are actually sitting here right now. And, as Hnen rightly pointed out, anyone who's actually making a difference in any part of that insurance journey is a stakeholder. And I think everyone actually has been pointing at some very important areas within the InsurTech space. But we've seen, primarily areas such as, you see robo-advisory, you see telemedics playing a very, very important role here now. AI is, leading the way in almost every part of this chain. And when you talk about advisory, I think, and personalized services, Waqar had alluded to this earlier. Personalized services would actually play a very important role, and these advisors or AI practitioners would actually bring in that role. Then aggregators, and I think we have them on this group as well. Aggregators will also play a very important role in this entire value chain. But interestingly, I think we've seen the role of agents, over the past years as well, and they continue to play that important role. Why? Because I think insurance still is a very, very nascent concept for most of the population, at least in our part of the world. And that I think with high tech, you need high touch as well, particularly in this
I
part of the
really
market.
like the sound of that. With high tech, you need high touch as well.
Yeah. So I think agents actually bring in that element. And I with one thing that we've seen with customer service centers, and I think Ishaq is actually really bridging that gap very well with VADA. You will need these customer support centers to bring in those sales and to actually do that hand holding with the customers initially, because it not only plays an element of literacy and awareness, but also it brings that element of trust where that human element can actually pacify that area of risk, both on the transparency side for the customer, and also the onboarding side, I feel. So agents, I feel, will play a very important role as well.
Thank you very much, Naureen, for sharing those thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we've come towards the end of today's session, and we only have another minute for all of you to be taking turns and sharing some final comments with us. Starting with you, Ishaq. What do you foresee?
I think that I will suggest people that to invest in data, to invest in segmentation, so that you can create different products and like wait for patient capital and invest in the right product mix, which is more need based than your own ROI.
Thank you, Ishaq, for keeping it short and sweet. Mahnoor.
Honestly, I think as an aggregator, for example, I think there's a lot of potential in the insurance industry if we sell the products, if we sell insurance products that appeal to people, are personalized, but also for me, it's very important to word them in such a way that people feel protected, as opposed to lack of trust being there. So I do see a lot of potential in the insurance and industry in the future. I feel like the more we understand our customers, the more data we collect, the more products we can provide to them, and the more value we can have. And I really do hope in the future that there's a lot more uptake when it comes to insurance policies. That's something that's not there. A lot of insurance policies being sold, the uptake or the usage is very low, like Nina pointed out as well. So in this situation, I do see a lot of I do see a lot of growth, and I hope more aggregators like myself in different industries use this product to promote their own service, but also provide people with protection.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Waqar.
I believe in Pakistan, if I talk about insurance industry, so we need a lot of work across the value chain, starting from the back office to the distribution side. So in back office, for example, we cannot deliver experiences if we are not supported. As an aggregator, if I talk we cannot deliver experiences if we are not supported well by our partner insurers. So certainly they need efficiency in their back office operations. We need more, access to the data so that we can offer and personalize it accordingly as well. So connecting the dots is a key. That means working together, for the industry, not for us only, for the industry, connecting the dots, and also, having another lens to look all the processes across the value chain.
Absolutely. Mr. Nomaan Bashir.
Okay, I just have a couple of points. Just focusing on customers first. I think a personalized, flexible, product coverage
Right. So there seems to be an error with your connection again. Hold on to that
Okay, can
thought.
you hear me? Can you hear
Yes.
me now? Okay,
Yes, we
so
can hear you.
personalized, flexible products. Secondly, new insurers is one thing that I can see coming in, which is going to really push the insurance operations, the existing incumbent insurance operations, to become more leaner and having an agile operating model to survive in the market.
Right. Mr. Hunain Kapadia.
As Bill Gates put it, where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. So we've discussed a lot of problems here. So there's a huge opportunity out there for each of us in the different verticals and the different areas we're working in. Just have to be patient, and just it's a regulated industry in Pakistan, one of the very few ones. So things move a little slow, but I think there's a huge opportunity for all of us to tap in there.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hayat.
Yeah, so I think for me, three things would stand out, and very holistically. Relevant product development. I think we're really missing the right kind of products in this industry, which is why we don't really see that pull in insurance happening. Then easier tech for sure. Everyone talked about the claims journey, and we've seen, and I think Mackenzie put it very interestingly that an automated claims journey can actually bring claim costs down by about 30%. So I think this is an area really to look into. And ultimately, I think definitely and always better customer experience. Mahnoor spoke about this very well. Awareness and trust are two very, very important elements of this. Yeah, so those three would be the most important, I think, to focus on right now.
Gratitude for sharing those enlightening words with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking out your precious time today. You've been wonderful. You've all spoken timely, and we see a very hopeful, uh, bright future for InsurTech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to the
Thank you.
audience, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, but now you're going to tune in tomorrow because we're done for the day. That was it for day one of the InsurTech Summit 2021. Please keep us updated with your comments and feedback. We love hearing from you. With that, a big shout out to all our sponsors and the organizing team at CXO Global Forum. They worked tirelessly, and I apologize if there were any lags in connection. There were really things that we tried our best to give you the best kind of knowledge experience. Thank you very much, and take care of yourselves.